there's so much vitriol in these internet streets. Women and men, specifically black women, black men, we fighting each other. Where'd that come from?
You know, one of the worst things that a human has to deal with is rejection. Rejection means throw back. I threw you back out there because I didn't want you. I've had women sit in my chair who said, the truth of the matter is, I don't even know how to receive love.
Are we responsible for healing our wives?
Oh, you can't heal your wife. You are not the doctor, and you do not have the skills to heal your wife, whether it's mentally, whether it's physically, or even spiritually.
Who can tell her when she's wrong?
Understand your role, understand your boundaries, understand your limitations. Being married 42 years is not the flex. We celebrate grandma, we celebrate grandpa. That was not a flex. That was lack of options, didn't have any money. That's not their soulmate, that's their cellmate.
I'm gonna ask this question. How do you deal with a frame that was created in the first years of your relationship?
Oh, that is so good, because what I find is this.
Oh, love, that's so good.
And I'm gonna tell you why I say
so
that.
Good.
Trust takes about 2 years to rebuild. And during that time,
hold on.
yes,
Say that slow. What?
you wonder why this person has cheated on you and does not want you. They were never attracted to this version of you because it mirrored their unhealed version. When you heal, you know what it says to them? Abandonment.
Driven by purpose, walking God's plan. You're looking at a certified man.
In a world where love often feels lost, today's guest, my guest, and I'm happy to have her, is a relationship expert. She is the voice of hope, and she reminds us how to love better. See what I did right there? She's an author, a speaker, a media personality, and certified marriage and family counselor. She's got over 2 decades as a mental health professional. You've probably seen her on WGN. What up, Chicago? Bravo's Reels, Housewives of Atlanta, NBC, VH1, and TV1. She's impacted audiences from Woman Evolved to Essence Festival. Offstage, and here's the part I like, she is a proud wife. I liked all of it, but she's a proud wife of 42 years and a mom of 2, proving that healthy love still wins. Joining me on this episode of The Certified Man, the remarkable, the incredible, the amazing Black Girl Magic, Love McPherson. What up, love?
I'm gonna package that intro and carry it with me. But you have to add Gigi. That's right now I'm a Gigi and I love a Gigi. I adore my little baby.
Oh, look at that. I'm not a grandfather yet, but it's on the way. It better not be on the way yet, but it's coming soon. So love, I mean, there's so much vitriol in these internet streets. The manosphere, parts of it is really, really positive and parts is negative. And then on the other side as well, I wanted to have a conversation with someone who was mature to have that conversation with, and especially you with your pedigree. I mean, you 42 years married, that's a thing. That's a thing. And then you've been working with folks for, 2 decades. Man, how did we get this far? How did we get way out here where women and men, specifically black women, black men, we fighting each other? Where'd that come from?
That is such a good question, and it's such a necessary conversation right now. And one of the things that I say is, first of all, a few things have happened. We know about how women are now more independent. We can, make our way and things like that. But the goalpost absolutely has moved. But we're also much more aware of our mental health. We're much more aware, and we have options. And so, where women themselves did not have options, now they do, and they take advantage of those options. But also men have options. Now, the options now, because of the internet, it looks like a Cheesecake Factory menu.
Yes.
Because you don't, because it's so much. And when you have this many choices, it breeds comparison, and you begin to say, it's kind of like being in that buffet line. Like, what do I choose? And is that next dish better than the other one? And so what I'm saying to you is that there has been a lot of choices, but there's also been a lot of pain. And the pain influenced the choices. We are aware of the relationship trauma we've had. We are able to see stuff in real deep. We are able to compare our relationships to others. The problem is a lot of this stuff is so fake and so false. It was fake before AI even came, but we are buying into it. There has been a lot of unresolved pain from our past relationships that we need to heal from, even from secondary relationship trauma from our parents and other people in our family. So it's a lot of dynamics that are influencing. And so what you'll find is that the goalpost has moved.
Yeah.
The goalpost of what satisfies me has moved.
Has it moved, or have we moved? That's one question. And then you talked about choices. Do we really have as many choices or options as we think we do, especially with these internet streets? Like, okay, so you have, 5,000 people following you. Let's say half of them are women, so that's 2,500. Mm-hmm. Do you really have 2,500 options? And what has the internet done to make us think that we do?
Well, it's not even necessarily just the internet. It's a lot of the dating sites. And so there are people who are winning on those dating sites, and there's people who are saying, wait, there's pee in the pool. And so what ends up happening is the internet sites, where the dating sites, they can actually boost your ego, because as people are choosing you, we all want to be chosen. One of the worst things that a human has to deal with is rejection. Rejection is not just, I didn't choose you. It is, I had the opportunity. Rejection means throw back. I threw you back out there because I didn't want you. So that really affects you. So when there is a scarcity mentality, even if it's not true, the person who is winning will feel like they're in the power position. And so a lot of times, just not being chosen for whatever reason, or not being chosen because you're not making enough money for men, not being chosen because you don't have the body that you need for women. And so it's a lot of reasons for rejection, a lot of reasons for the pain. And then to be played, the ghosting is such a high form of abuse until there is pain in relationships that we never had before.
Wait a minute. Ghosting is abuse?
Absolutely. Because what it does to your psyche and what it does to your brain. Most ghosting does this. They will have a relationship with you and you think everything is going really well, but then it drops off, and it's called ambiguous grief, because you don't know what happened. Your brain is waiting to make sense of what just happened to you, and you don't. It's the same emotional experience as a parent who has a missing child. With the posters, we don't know what happened. So that ambiguous loss absolutely affects us. And there's a loop of it that continues, and we want to make a resolve of it, of what happened. So this is what happens. Whatever has been inside of you, you go there. So let's just say you are a female whose dad didn't show up, who was the dad who would promise that he's going to show up for you and take you to the park, but you would be standing at the window and he didn't show up. Well, that's a serious trauma because you learn not to trust. So that will trigger the I'm not good enough to fight to show up. It will trigger whatever messages the little girl had down inside. Now, say you didn't. You had a dad who always showed up. So now you're saying, what was wrong with me, or what was wrong with the relationship? Maybe I should have done it better. Was I supposed to call? Was I supposed? So you're constantly, first person you turn on in betrayal, you turn on yourself. You learn, it's not about I don't trust you. I don't. But the first person you stop trusting is yourself. Do I trust that I know how to even find a good guy? Do I trust that I am in a good relationship? So the abuse part of it is the act It is what you experience from the act. It can be just uncomfortable for some, but absolutely traumatic for others.
Wow, wow, wow. So much, so many places I want to go with that one. But let me say this. There are people that are listening to this, and I probably have said it myself. And I'm learning now that you can't stand on the business of intent when your impact was felt different than your intent. So don't argue for your intent. Show up and address the impact that you made. So I'm getting that part now.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also wondering, some of this stuff ain't my stuff. Some of the stuff is your stuff. How do I handle it when it's actually your stuff? And I'm going to say I a lot, but I'm speaking for these men, some of the men that I coach, et cetera. Like, how do I handle it when it's actually your stuff, but you're projecting it as mine?
I agree with you 100%. Let's just use the same scenario that we're going through, which is the ambiguous loss of ghosting. What ends up happening is if you never took the time to process out what dad did to you, if you never processed out that this was dad's issues, you don't have the capacity or the knowledge and the skills to actually place this in the right category. You are still placing it in the same category as the little girl placed it. The little girl said, I'm not good enough. I'll be nicer. I'll give men more. I will do what I need to try to win my daddy over. And it didn't work. That's something you need to resolve, because if dad was on drugs or if dad was just not dependable, then it had nothing to do with you. And that happens through therapy. So when I come back, my brain is going to take me to the coping skills, to the places as a little girl. So when you ghost me, the little girl's going to show up, not the adult who is in her rational frontal cortex brain will say, you know what? I know I gave my best. This is this guy. That's not who's going to show up, because the amygdala is your autopilot. You will act on your autopilot, and the amygdala will tell you you're not enough or beat yourself up. So when you say you got to show up and say what it is that you want, of course, that is my stuff. However, your stuff is probably the fact that instead of facing stuff head on, you run. Your trauma response is avoidance. Maybe your issues are that you are not dealing with your fear of commitment or fear of relationship, or just as it gets too far, you never intended to start catching feelings. So deal with your stuff. We both have some stuff if you ghosted. We both have some stuff. But you're going to have to deal with it. Now, I'll give you one more scenario, because I know guys deal with this as well. If you have a woman who has anxious attachment style, that's her stuff. She is anxiously attached and fearing abandonment, fearing that you're going to leave. And so even though you have told her, hey, this is over, I'm not trying to get into this, you might have told her that, and she won't listen. She's still trying to pursue you, still trying to win you, and then you just cut it off. That's a whole different scenario. And sometimes the men will bunch up that whole ghosting into that. You've given her the messages. You've talked to her. So that is not the just fall off the face of the earth type of thing.
Yeah.
It's not the same. Those are two different categories.
Tell me about these attachment styles. I believe that there are 4, 3. How many attachment styles are there?
4.
Okay.
Yes. The first one, a secure attachment style. We all want that secure attachment style. I'm letting you be you. I'm being me. We work together in harmony. The another one, though, is the anxious attachment style.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that is, you are anxiously attached because you fear rejection, you fear abandonment. And so you are people pleasing, you are going out of your way, you are fearful, a lot of fear and anxiousness. So what you might be doing is trying to go to his phone or her phone, because it's men too. I'm speaking about women, but you're anxiously watching what he's doing or she's doing. You are everything is about trying to avoid the pain of being hurt again. And I know you have spoken about past pain, of us trying to avoid the pain. The brain automatically, everything it does is trying to avoid pain. And so your relationship, you will anxiously hold on or anxiously micromanage or anxiously monitor for danger and pain. And so you'll see a lot of jealousy. Now, the second one is a dismissive attachment style, where this is difficult because these people will love you, but they don't need a lot of extra with you. It almost feels like being in a relationship with someone who is autistic, who doesn't really want to be into, one-on-one as often. Certain levels of the spectrum. Some of them, I don't want to categorize everybody on the spectrum as that. But I'm just saying, it almost feels like, why is it that you don't call me? Why is it that you won't text back for a while? It feels you just never know where that person is, but they just don't need a lot of closeness, affection, or any of that kind of stuff. So they will feel emotionally unavailable.
Is dismissive like avoidant?
It is not even trying to be avoidant, because that's very different. If you're trying to avoid, some people just don't need all of that. They are not even built. Sometimes at home, you will find this sometimes in some only children, where the household was, maybe there was a single mom and a son, but the mom did her thing, the son did his thing, and he had to learn to be his own friend. Or she had to learn to be her own friend. And they're not used to a lot of extra around them. It can happen in a two-parent household as well, where the mom, the dad, but everybody is in their own world and nobody is showing up in my part or any of that. And you've learned and conditioned yourself to be your own island. So it's not that I'm trying to avoid pain. I just don't need all of this. I don't need you in my presence like that. The third one, though, it's actually the fourth, because it's pure DNIC. So the fourth one is what I call a combo meal. It is a combo of anxious and dismissive. Now, that's dismissive. If you really know that person loves you, you might be able to maneuver and work through that. There needs to be some counseling, but if you can work through that, the last one that I just told you, avoidant, or it's the different terms that they will call, that is more of avoidant. That's that person who actually fears relationship. So what you'll get is a cat and mouse relationship, where you will be in this relationship and they will love bomb you. And they don't have to even be a narcissist. It might feel narcissistic. They'll love bomb you. You will be in this relationship and they will pursue you. And you're like, okay, I'm being pursued. Okay. And maybe you weren't even initially attracted to that person, but they're pursuing you. So you go. But then all of a sudden, as soon as you get serious and you start going, they turn around. It's not you, it's me. I'm just not ready for this relationship. So now you're confused. Like, I didn't even pursue you. Like, why did you do all of that? And now you decide you're going to change your mind. So you're like, okay, fine. Okay, we're just going to end this. And you walk away. Then they discover she really is going to let me go. They go back and start chasing you again.
Wow.
And it can go on and on until you put a stop to it. And so, because they definitely, and this is the truth, they do want a relationship. However, they fear a relationship.
Okay. All right. So that's the combo meal, you said.
That's the combo meal.
Good Lord.
I call it the combo meal.
Well, sometimes
it's avoidant attachment. Yes.
Sometimes I feel,
or some people call it disorganized. So it can be
I've heard disorganized.
Disorganized. Yes.
Sometimes I feel like I'm in that category of anxious and avoidant. Like, I don't know. Sometimes when I hear that, I'm like, yeah, that's me. Then I hear this, I'm like, yeah, that's me too. So I don't know. I might be combo meal.
What you fear. If you see similarities in that, the pain that you talk about is what you're trying to avoid when it gets too tight.
Yes.
And when it gets too close. And a lot of times we understand the pain is on the other side of our success. when it comes to business. Pain is on the other side of our success when it comes to growth. However, it's also can be on the other side of our relationships.
Yes. So I know in the past for me, I don't want to feel, and many men, it's just not me, many men, we don't want to feel as though we have been pigeonholed into an area in which we have no options. Like, I am beholden to you. When you say no, that's it. I can't outsource some of this stuff. You say no, and it's just a no, dry. No Lowry's, no seasoning on it at all. It's just a no. Not a later, not a wait, but a no. Hey, listen. Driven men, powerful men, we don't accept no in business. We don't accept no in most areas. But when we get home, we got to be okay with just a regular dry no. Love. I'm gonna say some stuff to you and some people be triggered if I say it. I know you can handle it. You've been married for 42 years. Hey, drop that game on me. Tell me, hey, that no is loud, love. What we gonna do?
And here's the thing. The first thing that you want to do is to know why there is a no. And why isn't this a yes? Because first of all, wouldn't that be the first question that you would have in business if you were trying to pursue an account or a client and they were not responding to you? You would begin to say, what about that client do I need to do to win them over? Right?
That's right. Absolutely.
Okay. You may still not be able to control that client, but you're going to at least investigate why. And a lot of times what ends up happening is the men hear the no, but they don't ask, why is it a no? Let me give you some reasons for no. Okay.
All right.
And we're talking about intimacy, right? Is that what we're talking about?
I mean, if you want to talk about it, yes, that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about.
Okay. Because most of the people who come in my chair, they do, that's one of the areas that they have to deal with is the intimacy part. And so let me give you several reasons why there can be a no. But before I give you this, I want to say this. I'm going to give you a solution. And before I even tell you the problem, my husband and I, this is how one of the things that we live by. And we had to grow to this place. We had to grow to the place where, and I've said this on several platforms, our sex life, our intimacy is not controlled by our libido. It's controlled by our love. That is what drives it.
Hold on. You go slow it down. It's not driven by your libido. It's driven by your, love. That's so good.
And I'm going to tell you why I say that.
Good.
It's because 15% of women's, 85% of women's libidos are lower than their husbands. So if I depended on my libido to drive me towards my husband, we ain't having it. We ain't going.
Wow.
Also, because his libido is higher, because people, once they see that, they'll think, oh, it's just one way. No, actually, no. Because I travel and my husband, he has a whole different business that he's working. And so he's encouraging me, but I might have a long flight. I get home. I've been gone all weekend. I come home and he's probably in the mood. Guess what? His libido does not drive him to me. His love for me understands I need rest. It works both ways.
So, okay.
You understand?
I do. So
my libido would say in the morning after I get that rest, take care of your man.
That's all I need to know. That's what I wanted to say. Take me back to the libido, though. I get it. So we in the love. When we gonna get back to that libido? So cool. So I think most men can deal with a wait. Most men can deal with a later. Most people in general, but I'm talking about men. It's when there is no path to you getting what you want. And there are a lot of men that deal with that. And unfortunately,
Yes.
it's some really good men that deal
It
with
really
that
is.
thing where I don't have the language to express that that this level of frustration makes me feel, okay, here are words that make me feel abandoned. It makes me feel alone. It makes me feel
Yes.
sad. And
Yes. And unwanted.
that's a great one, unwanted. And so I entered into this marriage because it could have just been a relationship or a situationship, maybe, I don't know. But I entered into this marriage because I knew for a fact that I was going to have your back come hell or high water. And so when the time comes in which I thought the same way I felt, you felt, and whatever it takes, we're going to do. And then when you get to situations and it doesn't happen, that, boy, you stuck. Like, what do I do? And a lot of men, unfortunately, they outsource.
Yes.
And now you're dealing with some other drama that you've created that had nothing to do with nothing, but something to do with everything at the same time.
Yeah. So that takes us back to the no. Okay. And I said I was going to address that before the answer, before I even got to the no.
Yeah.
So since you took us back to the no, this is what I want you to see. First of all, a lot of times the no, sometimes, I don't say a lot of times, sometimes the no is because you are coming to reap where you have not sown. You think that when you show up into the bedroom, that and rub me, that is called foreplay. Foreplay happens when you go clean up afterwards. That's where it starts. It is the point in which wash some dishes. It is consider me, be thoughtful, be patient, kiss me and hug me sometimes when it does not lead to sex. Pick up the kids.
Yeah.
Give the kids a bath. Take me out to a date. That is you concerned about me, or having that tough conversation that you said, I don't want to talk about now, but I'll come back later.
Yeah.
Don't let it store inside of me, because what happens is this. A woman, you are the giver. I am here to receive. So if I am here to receive, is it selfish? Am I receiving somebody who is here only for me, for themselves? Or are they also taking me into consideration? So if my experience is that you are only here to pleasure yourself and not thinking about me, because you're not even considering me, you're not considering the fact that I worked all day, I took care of the kids while you were sitting there watching the game or playing the game, and you are coming to reap from me where you have not sown into my life. That's one thing. That becomes a no, because it is difficult for me to see that you are not even considerate, but rather selfish. Now, let me tell you something about that.
Yeah.
This becomes especially a problem for men or women who have dealt with neglect, because some neglect is different from abuse. Neglect is, I was supposed to receive something from my parents and they didn't give it to me. So there becomes a sense of entitlement. I am owed this. And a title person who has dealt with the traumas of neglect, you will see a lot of comparison. You gave her 4 peas on her plate and you only gave me 3. It's a lot of comparison. So now the entitlement that happens in marriage is this. Oh, you gonna give it to me? Guess what? Shanae Lala will. And so it becomes a sense of entitlement, and they don't necessarily take responsibility. Is because you pushed me out there.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that the woman has the ownership, and I'm using men and women, but it flips, and trust me, to this day it flips back and forth almost equally. Okay, so I don't want you to think I'm just talking about women and men.
No, you good.
On that side. What I'm saying to you is, we have to take into consideration that the childhood traumas that lead the men out there or the women out there, any kind of forms of neglect. We have to consider Also, as a woman, one thing I teach about that, where you say you need to be there, you voice it. And I will say this to women and to men. If I gave, and I'm gonna give you a scenario. If I have told you we had an agreement getting into marriage, and you said, I said, I don't want you eating anything in restaurants. I love to cook. This is what my passion is. I only want you to eat at my table. I want to serve you all the time. And I don't want to see you eating any fast food. I don't want to see you. I'm gonna give you the 4-star meals. What you tell me what, I'm gonna take care of you. And you're like, okay, I got you. I got you. And so I did this for months, and I fed you before we got married. I fed you after we got married. And then all of a sudden one day you come home and there's no meal at the table. And you said, oh, where's the meal? And I said, oh, you know what? There's some leftovers in the refrigerator. Okay. You go get your leftovers. I don't even heat them up. You heat them up. And so you come back the next day, still no food on the table.
Yeah.
After about 4 days, I drive past and I see you standing in a fast food line, getting your order.
Come on.
So am I supposed to, do I get enraged? Who violated the agreement, the covenant first? Because he is bound to my table, but I'm not seated.
You walking heavy. You're all right. Okay, talk now.
And so we have. I'm not saying you have an out. This is what ideally you sit me down and you say, this is what I'm hungry, and we had an agreement, and it's putting me in a bad position because I need to be fed, and this is this. My husband and I, at the first 5 years, we didn't have any children. On purpose, we wanted to wait, get to know each other. And for 5 years, there was never, ever a no. I had children and it was like, babe. Now that was huge difference at that point. Like, oh, what? I gotta know? I gotta wait? And it wasn't all of this Love McPherson, wait, honey, in the morning we hadn't come to that. We hadn't come to that agreement. It was like this, okay? It was not, it was like, well, I could see he's in his feelings, but what? And then it's like, oh, it's the child, what's going on here? So this is the thing. We had to graduate and have some deep conversation. And that's why I am an advocate of scheduled sex. Because what I schedule means it is important to me.
Yep.
We think it's all about spontaneous. What I schedule in my calendar says this: no matter what else is going on in the world, this right here, this pocket of time is for this activity, and nothing else needs to invade it.
Schedule says
serious.
And
that's how I feel about my relationship and my intimacy and my life. This is the pocket of time. And guess what? I prepared for it. Before I got on this podcast, I prepared for it. I made sure I had a few waves in my hair or something. I prepared for it. Yeah. And what I'm saying to you is, if I know this is aligned in the pocket of my time, I will manage my energy. I will and guess what? He's managing too. He's making sure, don't be messing up, love. Oh, he's showing up with stuff. I'm showing up. Yeah. We are preparing ourselves. And a lot of times we fall for this whole, it's got to throw all the stuff off the counter and jump on it. And then, okay, that's good. Yeah. However, somebody got to clean up that counter after you didn't throw it. And whatever broke, we got to replace it. Okay.
Man,
and so
let me get that counter action. I'll clean it up. I sure will.
I ain't throwing nothing off my counter. I don't know about you. That's fine.
I don't need
God
that.
God bless you if you're throwing everything off the counter and you got to wipe it up and stuff. That's fine on you. But I'm not. Okay. My counter will be reserved for cooking. What I am saying to you is, we've got to understand both parts play. Your behavior affects how I receive you, because I receive you, and I understand as a woman what I am receiving, and so you have to be conscious. And I want to give you one more. If you have a wife who has been molested, to call the obligation card, to call the religious card your body is not yours,
come on, man.
you will trigger the molestation that happened because somebody decided your body is not your own, it is mine. And you cannot do that to a woman who has been molested. You can't just force the relationship. Now you said, what's yours? What's hers? She has an obligation to work through the healing process. She absolutely does. Why? Because you signed up for it. That was what you signed up for when you was walking up there in that white dress. You signed up for it. So you have an obligation to heal so that you can fulfill the responsibilities, both of you do, of your job duty. The man has a responsibility. If you're going to love me like Christ loved the church, if you're going to protect me, you have a responsibility to be there through my healing process, to be patient through my healing process, to be patient if I'm 6 weeks out of for the weeks that they tell me I can't have sex during after childbirth. You cannot act like a little boy who can't, you have an obligation to grow up and heal and cover me. You have an obligation.
So good, man. So good. So good. I'm gonna play this video clip. And I want to ask a question or series of questions after it. Okay? Check this out.
We're dealing with a generation of women who are not ready for the men who they told to go heal. Right? You told me to go heal. You told me to go get therapy. And now I'm back and you're not ready to be accountable. That's a problem. You told me to heal. You said, Negro, you need therapy. You need to go get a mentor. You need to be around some brothers. I did all of that. And now you're not able to hold yourself accountable. Now we have a problem because now I've got to drag you when you once dragged me.
Where do we go from here, Dave?
Home. The hell out of here. That's where we go. That's where we go. We got to go home because, and what I mean by that is, as men now, it's okay for us to say, you're not for me. There was a time when we couldn't say that because we were trying to appease you.
A lot of.
Now you're not for me, sis. I've done the work. That's the other conversation.
Tell me your thoughts about that.
Well, first of all, of course, that scenario is absolutely true in some situations. Now, here's the thing, probably where most women will be kind of confused about. We've been so trained that the man is going to find us until, unfortunately, we have not always felt we were in the choosing place. So how he said, when he said, I am now saying you're not for me. I think most women have always felt men's been saying that since the beginning of days. You're not for me. And women didn't get to say as often, you're not for me. I think we always saw society gave men the upper hand. They were in the power position when it came to choosing, especially for the church woman, because he who finds a wife, he's got to find you. You sit back and you keep working for God and he's going to find you. And so many men walked past and said, you're not for me, sis. So most women have already experienced that. What you see is that's not our experience. Is the same as his experience, but it's very interesting to hear his experience. What we have to do as women is listen to the experiences and not judge it. What we find happening is we're one-upping each other. And I'm saying that right now because I don't want us at this point of the podcast to start one-upping. No, men don't do it. And I don't want to, we don't need to one-up. We need to stop and pause and metabolize his experience. The experience of a man is that, hey, I've worked hard, and now when I reject you, you don't, or I call you out and tell you what I see, you can't handle it. Absolutely, that has happened. That is absolutely the truth in certain circumstance. The other thing is, I feel a lot of times the woman who's saying you need to go heal, a lot of them have been working on themselves. Do you understand? So
I'm not
it's
sure.
still
I'm not sure. I hear you, but I'm not sure that. So help me make it make sense, because
right.
if you have been working on yourself and you have made me the problem,
Some strides.
my words, you've made me the problem, and I went and I healed, and I came back with a new vigor. And to be honest, with our program, Man Up Certified, I mean, we take these guys through a very rigorous program in which we put the mirror to them and show them the man in the mirror, and a lot of trauma, a lot of stuff you got to overcome. So you come back with a refreshed lens. Your lens was filthy. Now we cleaned your lens. Now you're seeing things differently. So not only do you see the treasure that you have, you also see the trash that you have too. And you want to call out that trash.
I see you putting it in context really does help a lot. Because I couldn't put the 2 and 2. I thought it was just these two people in a relationship, somebody with the therapy, and it didn't. But putting it into context of how you help to cultivate that certified man. Okay, let's talk about it from that lens.
Very good.
What happens is this: absolutely, positively, it can go either way. But for men, it is absolutely true as well. So it could be the woman who goes and gets herself together. I'm going to go to, I'm going to say this and then I'm come back to the center. Abuser's worst nightmare is that you will find out who you are.
Ugh.
A healed man or a healed woman, when they find out who they are and who they need to be, and they maneuver through the traumas, it automatically sets a different standard. And when they understand and they help, a concept of what they used to be, what is no longer toxic, because our brains learn how to have relationships by how our parents had relationships with each other and how they had relationships with us. And if that was toxic, then we will carry bags of toxic right on out of there. Relationships are that. Relationships are how you relate one to another. So if you have sent a man off to actually show up as a man, but you do not have the foundation of what a man even looks like, is supposed to look like actual experience, a lot of times you've made it up in your mind. And you've created this fictional character. And if the man shows up and you do not even know how to relate to a healthy man, you will actually sabotage. And this is anybody. I don't even have to say man or woman. This is just how we do. Our brains go for what is familiar. And if it's unfamiliar, either we will sabotage, run, or we will have the choice to do better. Because of the lack of fathers, sometimes in the home, or the father is there and still not speaking correctly because he never was healed, still not showing up like he needs to because he was never healed. That toxic relationship style is what we've learned, because we've learned coping skills to deal with that. Either we shut down, either we people please, either we give too much. We go into it with those relationship skills. Listening is a skill. Conflict resolution is a skill. Bonding, those are all skill sets that you have to master in order to be in a healthy relationship. So yes, if a man goes and actually perfects his skills and comes back to a woman who is skillless, absolutely, she will not even know. And let me tell you something. I have had women, so don't say, oh, that's not true for women. I've had women sit in my chair who said, the truth of the matter is, I don't even know how to receive love.
Yes.
I know I've created all the skills to know how to deal with toxicity. I have my trauma responses, but I don't know how to be in a relationship with a man who loves me. So there's doubt, too good to be true. There's maybe or labels give us an excuse to treat people badly. He's a lame, or he's what we could create things to actually sabotage. We will limit tests. I'm talking about on both sides.
Limit test. What's that?
We'll limit test, all of that to justice to run, to give us an excuse to run. And so what they'll do is they'll push you, poke the bear in different ways, because they don't want to bond with you and then have to go through the pain of breakup. So they will continue to do things to provoke you and trigger you to see what does it take to make you run. It's like hazing you. Are you going to stick in here long enough, or are you about to run? So let me give you your worst case scenario. So you run now before I bond with you. So it's, oh, why did you call me back? I called you. Oh, I didn't show up because you, or I didn't like this. And see, is he going to call me back again? Which is, you'll see it on the internet. The guy says, I offered not to pay the meal. I offered to go 50-50. I was just trying this woman to see. I want to see the limit of where I can push her and she's still hanging in there with us.
Yeah.
So that's fear-based, and it doesn't make for good relationship.
I mean, we call it shit testing, quite frankly. Limit testing is probably the PG version, in St. Paul Baptist Church. But
that clip, absolutely. When somebody has been able to work on themselves, understand their roles, operate in their roles, and come back to someone who does not have the same skill set, guess what? It will be intimidating.
And what does he do with that? Because I know you started off with the part with him saying, I don't have to be here. I can go and do something else. Okay, that was his perspective. I want to hear yours. What does he do, a man do, when he comes to that situation? I know I've heard people say, show her the same grace that she showed you when you were in that space. I hear that, but I don't know if Negro, you need to go heal is grace. It feels like this. So he comes back. Now you want grace. That's a tall task. And I don't think that everything is equal. I don't think that we need to return energy. I return energy. I think that that's a little petty. And as a leader, there are things that you have to do to step outside of yourself, because guess what? Heavy is the head that wears the crown. But I am curious about this one question. Who can tell her when she's wrong? Whose voice can she hear you're wrong? Because what I've heard and what I've experienced and what I've seen, my wife ain't trying to hear me say that. I'm not her life coach, and she didn't sign me up for that. Cool. But when the situation is that you're wrong, and I'm on the man's side and you be on the woman's side, or however, when in that case, who can tell her when she's wrong? And you need to hear this, but you can't hear it from me. But you ain't going to therapy. Who can tell you when you're wrong, and what do we do with that? There's a lot of questions in there.
No, it's all actually one question. Is basically, who does she hear? Who does she listen to? And this is not even about a question about her, because she couldn't control you any more than you can control her. There might have been many times where you didn't listen and she wanted control. And a lot of times in a relationship, we think we need that control is the answer. Control is the answer, but it's self-control.
Ooh.
This is what has to happen for the man. We're going to use your scenario. The man went and did his, he's a certified man now, and he comes back to this woman. What we're going to say is this. The first thing you're going to have to do is this. Can your love cover that? Because see, we're talking, there's a whole spectrum of things that you might be talking. Maybe she's verbally abusive. How is that going to affect you in the long term? Maybe she's a serial cheater. How is that going to affect you in the long run? Maybe she is, you are in a sexless marriage. How is that going to affect you? Because this is what people don't realize. The proximity in a relationship is so dangerous. And there is neuroplasticity. So it will affect the grooves in your brain when you are co-regulating with somebody. Literally, when you get a lot of different women in a dorm or in a room or in a household, you'll see that pretty soon their periods start coming at the same time.
Yeah.
It's co-regulating. That's what happens to our bodies with our mates. We begin to co-regulate. So when you be going all of these moves and going up and down and things like that, we're going with you. The ups and downs. And that's why when you are co-regulating with somebody and it's affecting your stress levels, your hormone levels, it's affecting the possibility of hypertension, all of these physical things that could happen, you've got to be able to say, hey, how much of this can I take? A lot of times we just think that just because you are in a relationship, you're supposed to endure everything. You are supposed to have unconditional love, period. However, you are never having to sign up for unconditional relationship. Guess what? God don't even give you unconditional relationship. He didn't give it to you in the Old Testament. He said, if you come into the Holy of Holies, you better come correct or you will die in my presence. That was supposed to be in the Old Testament, like in the temple and stuff. You'll die in my presence and they pull you out with a rope. Why? Because I love you. The sun shined on us just as well as unjust. But the relationship was, but you didn't come in here correctly. You didn't come in here with the right heart. The New Testament, if you're looking at the blood, now if anybody who's in the Bible, they said the way to come correct, come through the blood, right? Blood of Jesus. You got to accept Jesus. That's the way to come to me. But otherwise, I love you, but I got boundaries. It's called heaven and hell. That's my boundaries. And it's not because I don't love you. You know what it is? It's because of who I am. My assignment on the earth. If I have children and I have a child that I just told you, I am going to place myself in a position of toxicity, abuse, neglect, which will affect my physical, will affect my longevity of life, and living this world prematurely, sickly, because I co-regulated with someone who did not decide to heal himself. That's a tall price to pay.
Yeah, love. Good
and so
God.
We've got to understand what we are here for. So let me tell you something. As a certified man, if these men are showing up at your door and you are changing a whole generation of guys by challenging them, helping them work through their issues, and you are with somebody who is not listening, who does not respect you, and it's affecting you, all of a sudden now you on high blood pressure pills. Now you're stressed out. Now you getting your foot cut off. Now all of these different things. Why? Because of the external stress-related abusive situations. So now we leave out of here early. Why? And you didn't understand your call. You didn't understand your call. You aborted the mission because you did not have the ability to say, hey, I love you, but this is affecting what I'm here for. You are affected. And at the point at which you can bring yourself to the point, and I don't have to even divorce you to separate myself from you.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, I've never told one divorced person to leave, but I will tell you what the consequences of your staying is. There will be people who will stay and be abused. There will be people who will use a spiritual bypassing to be there. I was beat, I was this, but I was godly at it. What loving father would tell his daughter to stay and be beat by a man?
I don't
What
know why.
loving mother would allow their son to be badgered and bullied without any type of intervention?
Yeah.
What I'm saying to you is this. First of all, you won't be able to leave because of what somebody does. That'll never sustain you. Somebody do something wrong, cheat on you, whatever the case may be, talk badly about you, you will never be able to sustain that breakup because of what they did. You might go away for a season and you'll gravitate back. You know why? Because it's like a fire. It's raging, it's fire, but then it'll die down. You can only sustain a breakup, not because of who they are, but because of who you are. Once you discover who you are, and this is, I'm full circle now, back to the video. Once you discover who you are, you understand what you deserve. You understand your call. You understand there's not incongruence. You understand you. And I see you more clearly. I can have the patience for you, but I also have to place boundaries. That boundary is this. It could be, I'm still living in this house. We're going to still be married. I will not stand here and talk. And the language could be, I love you. I want to talk to you, but you can't talk to me that way. So we're going to end this right now and I'll come back later, or you show up and you can come talk to me when you're able to practice self-control in that conversation. If that's never, and if you don't enforce that, it's just a wish list. That's not a boundary. You love yourself enough. You have enough recognition of your call, of where you're going and what you're trying to be, where you say, my love don't cover your abuse towards me. My love doesn't cover you hitting me.
Are we responsible for healing our wives?
Oh, you can't heal your wife, but you can be a part of supporting their healing process. You know what that question is like? It's like your wife having cancer, and you say, am I responsible for healing my wife? How can you don't have the skills to heal your wife's cancer. However, you are responsible for helping her through the transition. You know it's going to be painful. You know she may lose her hair. You know that she may need your support at the doctor's appointment. You know that the sex may not be the same. You know that she might be throwing up sometime. You might have to clean it up. There is a process towards the healing that you will support. However, you are not the doctor and you do not have the skills to heal your wife, whether it's mentally, whether it's physically, or even spiritually. You can pray for her. You can be supportive. You can do whatever you need to do. But you are not the healer. Understand your role, understand your boundaries, understand your limitations.
Even emotionally, what about emotionally? She came to you broken in certain ways. I think I don't even have to ask it, because I think what I heard you say was, though you can't heal her or she can't heal him, what would you say about creating an atmosphere where healing is possible and even plausible?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
The way that healing is possible and plausible is through understanding and perfecting certain skills. One is forgiveness, patience, empathy, compassion. You understand? All of those different skills help to support an emotional experience of healing. Now, let me tell you something. You're like, oh, okay, she just listed some skills. However, we can't take that for granted. I'm going to tell you why. Because if you don't even have the ability or have not perfected the skill to forgive your father or your mother for what they did in your childhood and how they hurt you, and you cut them off and they wanted to come back and you've held on to that and you've rehearsed it and this is your story and there's been no healing, you don't even possess the skills for the type of forgiveness you need in a marriage, a marathon marriage. 42 years, do you know how many times I have had to forgive and my husband has had to forgive me?
Countless.
Do you know how many times I've had to be patient and he's had to be patient with me? And so these are skills that you have to perfect in these relationships, but it doesn't start there. It starts from going back to forgive yourself. Sometimes you don't even have not perfected the skill to forgive yourself. So if you were sitting there in shame or in guilt you are looking at her like, I know you see me and you won't forgive me. So you will treat her like you would never forgive it. No, you will forgive yourself. And that is a way where people think, I know you don't like me. And they're like, it.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one because
It is.
I mean, what do you do when you? Oh, wow, this is a real situation. I'm dealing with a real situation where a man he loves his wife, and I believe she loves him. But when you grow, sometimes you grow into another version of yourself. He is at the place where he's like, yo, I desperately love this woman, but she either is not willing or does not have the capacity to give this version of me what he needs. And he's stuck saying, what do I do with that?
That is so good. I actually write a little bit about that in my first book. One of the things that I talk about is the waltz. The waltz of trauma, really. We've gotten into these bad patterns of, how we communicate and things like that. Now, I tell women a lot of times, in the same for men, when there's a trauma bond, you wonder why this person has cheated on you and does not want you. They were never attracted to this version of you. They were attracted to the unhealed version of you because it mirrored their unhealed version. When you heal, you know what it says to them? Abandonment.
Wow.
They experience abandonment.
Wow.
Because you all know that you're supposed to fight, you're supposed to get loud, you're going to call each other name, and then a few days go by, you're going to come back, you're going to have sex. It is a pattern of behavior.
Yeah.
You know how this dance goes. And then you go and decide, I'm not going to waltz again. I'm going to ballet or whatever. And so it's not the same. And so you've changed. You've left me. You've abandoned me.
Yeah.
And if I have abandonment in my history, I will feel the same pain and I will lash out and I will feel betrayed by you if you don't even cheat on me. I will still feel betrayed because you left me in my trauma to deal with it by myself. And you can't possibly love me in this state because I chose you as a codependent relationship, trauma-based relationship. I chose you because you didn't know who you were and I didn't know who I was. So we were in it together being traumatized.
Wow.
Heal, and you have left me. So you left me alone in this relationship.
So it's like you have to learn or be willing to learn the new versions of yourselves. And I don't know how you do that in proximity. How do you do that in proximity?
Well, I'm going to tell you something. 42 years in a marriage, you don't have to go and have major issues before you evolve into another person. When I buried my mother and my father, I had evolved. When my husband buried his mom and his dad, he had evolved. After childbirth, I had evolved into something else. I saw the world differently, where I didn't look at schools and I didn't look at what was necessary. I evolved. So guess what? For 42 years, once a week, we sit down and we date. And we sit at the table across from each other and we talk and we get to know the new version. And we, in the altars of our mind, we stand there again and make vows to the new person. My husband and I are in our retirement ages. That's a whole different set of circumstances that people think, okay, now you just glide through 42 years. No, at my age, guess what? You see older people, they sleep in their separate rooms. They're either arguing or they transfer because of menopause, because of other things. They change, they're separated, they're not connected. Love is easy. The love is a choice. I choose to love you. I choose to wake up. Liking is the key. The liking is the hard part.
Yeah.
Do I even like this man anymore? Do I like this woman? Do I like this version of you? You have to make a choice. And through conversation, we have had to talk this thing through. Okay, our bodies are different. What type of sex do you like now? It won't be the same as our 20s. That's a real conversation.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's not, and that's an area for disconnect, because disconnection, and this is so important, disconnection is not an emotion. It is a state of physical being. Remember I told you about co-regulating?
Yes.
That's why you feel when you are no longer regulating on the same level. There has to be intentionality to come back together as one with the new version of me. But you've got to stop and look across the table. Listen. Just like I listened to when you showed the clip, and I listened to that guy, and I hadn't heard that version. And I thought, oh, that's something to consider.
Ooh.
That's something I need to think about.
Yeah.
There might be some behavior changes that a woman needs to make when a man is feeling like that. If you listen to learn instead of listen to defend, you learn from each other and make decisions not out of defense, not even out of fear, but out of love.
Yeah. That's so good, man. Love, I don't want to hold you all day. I was, while you were talking, I had a situation, and honestly, I don't think that I answered my man properly. I don't think I answered him right. So, guy I'm coaching, he just turned this one on me. I didn't really know how to deal with it. So, he sexless marriage, and so he talks to his wife. She says, "Well, we just need to date more." Now, he's a sole provider of the house for, however long they've been married. And so he's really busy. So she says, "Hey, we just need to date more. You're gone so much. Let's date." He said he didn't believe that was the reason why they weren't being intimate. He said because she never really initiated. So he's like, well, she don't really like it like that, or she ain't checking for me, one of them. So he went on the dates, did it for like a month. They did, he said, 2 dates a week. And it's fun. But after that month, she still didn't. So he was like, she wants me to do all of the things, but ain't no guarantee that I'm gonna get what I want. I was thinking it might sound selfish, but at the same time, I kind of get it. Like, hey,
I do too.
Hey, bro, if she gave you the goalpost of, hey, you do this, the atmosphere would be much better. A month later, nothing. I don't think I handled that one right, because I told him, I ain't gonna say what I told him. I want to hear what you got to tell him.
What I would say is,
Yeah.
I probably don't want to talk to him. I want to talk to his wife, because there's more to this than what he's doing. What the way that she's deceived is this: the way that our brain handles love and relationship is actually the same way our bodies handle pain, like painkiller. So what happens is, in while we're single, we're happy. We're happy. We think, if when I get married, I'm gonna be happier.
Yes.
We program happy. There's a peak where we elevate, and then it goes back down after around 2 years, and it plateaus. It goes back to the pre-state. So there's an increase. By the time we get to that, and sometimes it happens sooner. When we get to that going back down, we think, what happened? What happened? Because I'm not up like I used to be in this relationship. And we think, oh, I know what it is. It must be because he used to give me flowers. It must be because we used to date more. It must be. So we began to think of all of those things of why I must be feeling like I'm feeling, when in actuality it's normal. It's the same as you get somebody, you get on painkillers, you go up, but pretty soon those painkillers don't do the same thing.
Off, yeah.
Or the drug, because then we start getting higher drugs or something. You understand? So our bodies are, and the emotional pain and physical pain are in the same spaces as in the brain. So that emotion actually comes back down, and we try to figure out, what is it? And that's why you cannot count on your libido for intimacy. That's part of your commitment levels. I'm not saying you should have to feel obligated I don't want it to feel obligated because most men, after they stop asking you, because they, first of all, they don't want to feel like they're with it. And
That part.
so they will just turn off, and most of them will just stop completely. Some will not cheat, and some will just stop. And you might even be suspicious. He ain't asking me, but I wonder who he's asking. And some don't care, as long as he's not asking me.
Wow.
And so yeah, absolutely.
Jeez.
And so what I'm saying to you is that with her, we need to find out if there is resentment from somewhere else, that unresolved
Yeah.
resentment. If there is unresolved unforgiveness somewhere, if there is some type of libido issues, if there was some childhood traumas, if even the sex itself is something that she's not appreciating,
Mm-hmm.
if there's something that they need to do better.
Mm-hmm.
We got to look at all of those different things. But really, this is one of those situations where you say, this is not my issue, this is hers. It's still her issue.
Yeah, but it's impacted him though.
That would be a thing where he would have to tell her, look, this is what I'm dealing with, and be honest with her.
Yeah.
And say, as a man, this is what I need. And as a woman, I only want you. I have chosen you as to be the only person to fulfill that need. And I want to know what we're going to do about it. And if you don't want me, we need to talk about that. Either it's a physical thing, we just need to resolve it. Can we just start Xing out some of the stuff?
Well, I think that's what it was.
It has to be communication.
Yeah, I think he felt breadcrumbed, if I'm gonna say that properly. So he had that conversation.
He was.
And so he had that conversation, and her response was, we just need to date more. So he just went, hey, let's do the dates.
He was actually betrayed. There was an absolute agreement that this is the solution to my issue, and it wasn't. And there's no explanation of, there was, for whatever reason, it was not the solution. So it will show up not as breadcrumb, but as betrayal, full on betrayal.
You know what? Do you know? Oh, this is okay. I'm gonna tell this might not even make the episode, but I'm gonna tell you something. Man, earlier on in my marriage, so my wife was, I don't know, it got weird. We was going like a week or two. No, a week is okay, but like two weeks with nothing. Come on, man. Mm-hmm. I ain't built like that. So yeah, I said, hey, what can I do to make sure that it's gonna be what it is? Tonight is the. She said, well, tell you what, you do our son's homework. You wash him up and get him ready for bed. You cook dinner. You clean up. Hey, since we're at it, you run my bath water. You do all the things. Man, when I tell you, I said, say less. I even added laundry to it. Man, when I tell you, that baby got out of that tub with them candles, dried off. I'm in there with the oil ready to go ahead and massage you down, sleep. Mm-hmm. And I say, hey, what's going on? You can't expect it just like that. Just because I said that don't mean that you can get it right now. And it was at that moment, now that you say it, I felt something shift. I felt I couldn't believe you anymore. So you'll say it, but love, you just gave me therapy.
She cheated. Cheating is not just having sex with somebody else. You cheated because you cheated on the test. Cheated on the agreement. You betrayed. It's betrayal. You said this is what it took. You and then you moved the goalposts. You said this was the rules of the game, and I said, okay, I can follow those rules. I can make that happen. I will make the sacrifice. And all I'm asking you is to make a sacrifice. And you did not make the sacrifice for me. You don't love me enough, which I'm not saying she doesn't. I'm saying you will feel you didn't love me enough to sacrifice in spite of your feelings Because I'm sure you worked that day too and you did all of that.
Yeah.
In spite of what you were going through, you did not make the sacrifice for me, even though I made the sacrifice, showing you just how much I need you, want you, my wife.
So I think so the Bible says hope deferred makes the heart sick. So
and that's discouraged. That word is discouraged. Makes the heart discouraged. So you become discouraged.
Yeah. So so sometimes with some situations, male and female, you don't want to hope. So you put them in this box, in this category, because I can control that. It ain't wishy-washy. Because if I hope for it and it don't happen, that's going to cause me more emotional damage than if I just don't expect it at all. So that's what I'm going to do. You are this person. You didn't do that. You are that. And that's how I keep you in that space so that I don't have to deal with being hopeless or having my hope broken. And man, we gotta work through that part. Male and female, because that's what's on the internet now. That's why we going at each other. A lot of these songs, they're hurt songs. It's defensive energy that's really just going out there and it's keeping us from each other. And so when somebody is bemoaning the pain that you feel and you experience, you turn that stuff up. I remember when I was going through in my relationship and when Kevin Samuels, God rest the dead, Kevin Samuels was on him. Man, it was a lot of vitriol. A lot of things he said were factual. The way he said it absolutely wasn't cool. But I didn't care. You were saying what I needed to hear. And I'm like, man, this is bad. Because now I'm showing up into my marriage with this energy. And it's not cool. Because I can't come with that level of, and this is anybody.
Right.
I can't come with that level of energy and expect you to feel empathy coming from me. That's entitlement. That's demanding. And nobody wants that. Not a man, not a woman.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. And the thing about it is, in the situation you just gave me, a lot of times, this is what I see. In order to avoid sex, say if the man is cheating and he wants to get over to his lover, you'll see him create a argument. Man, I'm leaving. I'm getting out of here. That's how he gets out of the sex and goes over to the lover. Woman, she will give you a hurdle, an obstacle course, which is what your wife did. She gave you an obstacle course. And she put enough things in there that she does. You know what the problem was though? You actually did it. It's like when somebody says, my job is so hard and I have to do this, I have to do this, and I have to do this, I have to do this. And if you did it, see in the movies, you would be that husband who came back and was like, oh, I can't do it. And you just, that's what the movies would have done. They would have told you that was what was going to happen. You did it, threw in the laundry, and then it took the wind out of her sail, but she can use that as an excuse of how much I did because you did it and you were still prepared and you added cherry on top.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah. And we talked about that, man, years. It's been 16 years now, but we talked about that from in the beginning. But I want to say this and I'm going to let you go. I'm going to ask this question. How do you deal with a frame that was created in the first years of your relationship?
Ooh.
A betrayal, a pain. You were, y'all were young. I mean, you were stupid, okay? And you did something in those first, let's say 5 years. And here you are now, 25, 27 years later. But that first 5 years, my word, tainted those other 22 years.
Absolutely.
Woo, how you deal with that?
Oh, that is so good because what I find is this. I talk about this all the time. A lot of times when I'm taking somewhere and you'll know why I'm going over there. A lot of times when you go off to college, you'll see a lot of kids saying, my parents are about to get a divorce. And the reason why is because the parents from those first 5 years, they already decided, I'm going to stick around here till they leave home, and then I'm out.
Oh, man. Yeah.
They were divorced at the first 5 years.
Yeah.
If they didn't go and get healed and work through that process. And so, and if that one of the persons was really like sad, remorse and all sort of kind of stuff. But remember, I said, you don't have the skills to forgive. You still holding on to what your daddy did,
That's
what
right.
your mama did.
Wow.
I'm not saying you have to have a relationship with them, but you haven't forgiven them. You're still rehearsing the wrong. That's why the Lord doesn't keep a record of wrong. You're still rehearsing the wrong. So you've rehearsed this all through your child's life span, and they're paying the price. Now, what you'll see is there are telltale signs. There are red flags. I'm going to tell you what the red flags are. That's one of those spouses or both of the spouses are closer to the kids than they are to their mate. You will find that the glue is the children. The glue is not the couple. The children are learning tolerating rather than celebrating. They're walking out with skills to say, I can stick in and endure. So they have high tolerance for relationship pain. You get in your skills, they walk out with a little bag of high tolerance for relationship pain, a little snarky, snide, distancing kind of relationship because it was never healed in a household.
Wow.
You could see mom is over here with her life and dad is over there with his life. We all saw that. And what I'm saying to you is this. I stood on the stage a couple of weeks ago, and when I said married 42 years, and I was just saying it, and the people clapped. And I said, let me tell you all something. I said, being married 42 years is not the flex. I said, some of you all are clapping because of, that's not their soulmate, that's their cellmate. Because a lot of them have been there for 42 years because of lack of options. We celebrate grandma. We celebrate grandpa. A lot of times there was grandma's, that was not a flex. That was lack of options, didn't have any money, didn't have a bank account. They wasn't in the same room. They wasn't sleeping together. They weren't even liking each other. Did she do what she was supposed to do? Absolutely. She cooked for him. She served him. He came home. He brought the money. Why? Because that's what they were conditioned to do. But the flex is to continue to be close and have a relationship.
Yeah.
To actually like that person that you're with. And that requires work. It requires getting to know that person. It requires going to the altar of at least every time of year, every single anniversary. We celebrate, but you know what we say in that restaurant as we eating that 5-star meal? We celebrate. We say, how was your life? How was your life this year? And talking about marriage.
Yeah.
How was your married life this year? Is there something that I did not do? And is there something that I could do better? And we do not interrupt. We listen to learn. Then we have retreats where we do, we ask, what are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? What are our challenges? What are our threats? You understand that in business, we do it in our marriage. We begin to ask those things and find out what is in this, see, what the answers in 2015 are not the same answers in 2025.
That's right.
The threats in this country, the what it triggers in you, the things that you are operate or your age, it is a whole different thing. You gotta learn. You gotta stay in contact with your mate. You gotta begin to say, hey, this is what they went through, but I choose to love them. I choose this. They're not abusive. My husband in 42 years, he's never called me out of my name. He's never heard me swear. I've never heard him swear. We have not done that. Have I felt like bopping him in the head? Absolutely.
Don't bop
Has
him.
he felt like bopping me in the mouth? I'm sure of it. We have never done that. Why? Because our love constrains us and we have discipline. Do you understand?
Yes.
But in my mind, I have hit him. I'm sure he has slapped me in his mind.
Wow.
But we have never reached out to do that. And we have to go back and self-regulate and say, in my mind, I got to get myself together. I've got to think better thoughts. You understand? This is work I have to do.
Yes. Yes.
He's a good man and I'm a good woman. But in order, you can be married to a good man and a good woman, but we are people and we are false.
Yeah, yeah.
And we go through things. And so you got to continue to do the work. And I'm telling you, if you do the work in relationships, it will prosper in all areas of your life. It will prosper in your children. It will prosper in your business. It will prosper in your church. It really will. Why? Because you're building character. My mother used to always say, and she was married for 60 years to my dad, and they still liked each other. And I was named Love because of them. She would say, marriage is a character building factory. And it absolutely is.
All right, so every time you talk, I always get something else, but I promise you, I'm going to stop after this. I got two things. One, I need you to help me understand. When I tell you that the men I work with, they really do the work and they use their words, high emotional intelligence, like self-awareness, like all of those things. You have to, in order to be a certified man. So he said to his wife, he said, what can I do to be a better husband? Like, how can I show up better for you and to make sure that you feel covered, protected, all the things. And she gave him, a list. But when he said, well, you're going to do the same thing for me? She said, why would I do that? Why would I hand you a weapon for you to cut me with? Apparently they were having some issues. But so he was trying to mirror what, how it should be. Mm-hmm. But no, she said, why would I do that? Why would I hand you a weapon to cut me with? What is that?
That's wounds that are not healed. And here's the thing. Trust takes about 2 years to rebuild. And during that time,
hold on.
Yes,
Say that slow. What?
Trust takes about 2 years to rebuild after you break trust. Say if there was an infidelity or something like that.
Yeah.
It literally, and this is how, if you want to rebuild it, you cannot expect that person overnight to re-heal. That person it's going to be kind of like if you put too much strain on the wound, it'll bleed and it'll just like open up or something like that. Expect that. Expect sometimes her to bleed from that wound. It's I tell people, the courts say he cheated, you get to go. The Bible say he cheated, you get to go. Right? Okay, we could do the Apollo move. You just head on out. However, if you choose to stay, by default, you have now chosen to heal. You don't get to hold this record over his head for the rest of his life. You don't get to hold yourself in unforgiveness and make him pay forever. You don't get to do that. If you don't think you can handle this betrayal, you are out in the courts to say, we ain't got no, we find no fault in you. The God will say, but you cannot stay and not heal. Now, the healing process, you know how we talk about how do you support the healing process? First of all, accountability. You must be accountable. You cannot say, I said I'm sorry, so that should be it. Sorry is not enough. There's wounding that has been done and there's a process to the healing. What you have to do is this. You have to humbly take accountability, have to humbly with remorse. You say, now she want to see my phone. Let me tell you something. If it's only Jake from State Farm, hand her the phone, okay? And so we need to be an open book, open passwords. That helps the rebuilding process that will take sometimes 2 years. You have to be transparent. You have to be accountable. You have to have remorse. You have to be patient. That is the pain that you have to endure for the pain you cause. Now, if you stab somebody on the street and it was manslaughter or you kill somebody, you might, like you said, it might not have been intentional. However, you still going to the same jail.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You still going to pay. And so you're going to pay the price of And it's going to sometimes feel hard because you never meant to hurt this person. Your pain will be in watching the pain you cause if you're a good guy. The pain will be in watching the pain you cause somebody you love.
Now, see, I didn't get that when he said what she said, because he may have cheated. He ain't never tell me, but when he was talking to her, when she said, I don't want to. It's like I don't want to give you that kind of. I don't want to put. It felt to me like she was saying I don't want to put myself out there and put a standard out there, and then if I don't make it, if I don't do it, now you can say, well, what you said. That's what
Right.
I thought it was. But you're saying that one would say that because they were probably hurt before?
Why would I say that as a woman, if I'm talking about giving you a weapon,
Yeah.
I must be used to seeing a weapon or experiencing a weapon, whether you tried to hurt me or not. But if I feel like handing you me will be a weapon, is something about the past. Now, it may not have been the guy that is a weapon. And I want you to hear me on this, because this is important, is where I was going to go next anyway. Sometimes what ends up happening is this. If you have not seen any, and I write about this too, if you have not seen or experienced a good, truthful, dedicated, committed guy, you really don't even believe that they exist because you've been saying they ain't no good, man, or this. But you bury them, but you still are waiting for the shoe to drop. You're waiting for the floor to fall out from underneath it. And so when they show up, a lot of time, the sabotage, it happens a lot of times in the dating because it's like too good to be true or you're skeptical. But think about this. As a woman, if first of all, I had one woman I'll never forget. There were 3 generations. There was the grandmother, mother, and her. They had never had a man in the house. And she says, I don't even know what men do in a house. And so she had no knowledge of how men flow, move, or any of that kind of stuff. She just had no skills with men. And the only thing she had experienced was grandpa, he didn't treat my grandmother right. Mom, my dad didn't treat my mother right. He abandoned me. The only experience, the generations, were men who didn't do right. Then the relationship she had was men who didn't do right. After all of that wounding, the only expectation is men don't do right. And whatever the voice of the grandmother who was hurt, the voice of the mother who was hurt, whatever they told you about those men, that's what you know about men. Now, some man comes in and say, I'm going to do this right for you. I'm going to do this right for you. I'm going to do this right. And you're like, no. You're going to be guarded. You're going to have distrust until they prove it to you. That's the point at which the woman needs to go get healed. But it happens a lot so much in dating. They give this big, huge obstacle course for you to it's really hazing. We haze them just to see if they're real. We don't believe it. We don't trust it. It goes both ways. And so, yes, if she feels like you've never given me the ability to trust you, the people in my past have hurt me.
Yeah.
I have a lot of pain coming from your gender. I am not going to put myself back out there to trust you because chances are, especially if she's married, he's promised and not delivered before. He has told her, "Babe, I'm sorry. I ain't going to do it again." And she says, "Look, that hurt me. Don't do it again." And guess what? He did it again. And then you say, "I told you that this. And in consideration, it might even be something small. Turn the toilet seat down. I fall into it at night. And okay, I'm going to turn it down. I promise." And you're saying, "Listen, this is it." And he, okay. Dismiss them. They don't want to hear it. Be something small. But it's a lot of times we think it's the infidelity. It's the small foxes that spoil the vine.
Yeah.
It's the over and over inconsiderate behaviors over and over again, forgetting what I asked you to do, not considering me of those. Those are the things that actually deteriorate marriage like water on a rock. Pretty soon there's going to be a hole in there. And so what I'm saying to you is, if she's trusted him even with small things, she don't trust him that he's going to take this big stance and show up as this big changed person. I'm not going to give you my all until I see that you really deserve it or can even handle it. But I'm not going through this pain again because I don't trust you.
Yeah.
The bottom line, she don't trust him.
At what point do you realize I'm married to a person that don't remember stuff? He don't remember. He's excellent at this. He just don't be remembering stuff. What point do you say I'm married to a forgetter? Now, I'm going to have to be the one to remember if I want to be with him. I think that cognitively we understand, especially men, we know that with our women, because y'all go through a lot of stuff. Hell, we go through a lot of stuff too. But at what point do you say this? I just happen to be a circle that is married to a square. I just happen to be oil that's married to water. And that's what we are. Now, how do we decide what we're going to do with that? At what point do you say, okay, this is what I have?
I love that question. I have been there. And I'm tell you, I had to bury the man that I fictionally created in my mind. I had to face reality. And I know, let me tell you something. And also the third part, I had to focus on what I had in front of me. And this is what a lot of times, okay, I'm a relationship expert and we take vacations all the time. Now, I would love to flex and say, my husband planned this vacation for me and he did this. Truth be told, if I set him up like that and have him plan the vacations, I am going to second guess him the whole time. Because I am a hotel snob. So I am looking at reviews, I'm reading, I'm doing all stuff. He's not going to do all of that.
Yeah.
I am going to be nervous and I'm going to make his life miserable. I want him to be happy about what he planned, what he did.
Yeah.
So I just sit there and say, you need to do this. And then micromanage the whole process of how he does it, bug him. Why? Because I'm trying to create this man who actually is mini me in how he plans vacation. Or this is what I could do. What I really don't want to do is when I get there, I'm not trying to carry no bags and stuff. So I will set up the vacation. You will pay for the vacation and you will carry.
Yeah.
I'm not lifting anything. In groceries, we go to the grocery store. You push the cart. I'm getting the grocery. He'll help me reach. I'm going to do most of the work. He ain't even know what's in the shop. I'm at the grocery shop. When we pull up to the house, guess what?
He going to get them. Yep.
I'm not lifting one bag. I'm going out. He's going to pull me right up to the door and he's going to let me out.
Yeah.
And I don't have to demand that. We have to focus on what advantages do we get from our spouse. A lot of times we create this fiction of what he should be instead of receiving what he is. And a lot of goodness, a lot of times, is in what you chose him to be. And so we cannot sit there and focus our mind because our brains will create neuroplasticity about the negative that he does not exist in him instead of focusing on the positive. Now, this is what I did. Learned this one really early in my marriage. This was back when we didn't have cell phones. So my husband is a really good guy. Every morning, like this cup of coffee that I have right here, I know it's later, but he makes this. He gets up before me, makes it, and I don't even like it in a coffee cup. I like it in this because I put it on the warmer and everything like that. He does this every single morning. And before I came from a family of 10. I hated washing dishes. He told me before he got married, you don't have to wash dishes. They came from a family of 2. And so him and his sister. So I'll wash your dishes. I've never washed. He's followed up on that.
Yeah.
So he's a good man. But this is what happened. When I got married to him, he started washing dishes and he would take the soap and he'd spraying all that soap. And I'm watching him. And I was like, oh no, that's too much.
Too much
liquid.
detergent.
and he would say this, you want to wash them? I was like, no, but you could use you want to wash them? No, but you want. So he started doing that. And it would bug me because, see, I come from a family of 10. So we squirt, squirt, squirt. He come from a family of 4, mother, father, sister. Then one day, God checked me. He said, how much does it cost for if he goes through one a week? And we was going to the dollar store, so it's that cheap stuff anyway back then. So I said $52 if he uses one whole bottle a week, which he was going through. 52. He says, would you pay $52 to not have to wash dishes? I walked away, shut my mouth.
Sound like the Lord to me.
You understand? And so I can focus on a good man washing dishes, but using too much soap and complain about that and build resentment for him trying to do a good thing, fulfill his word, or I can shut my mouth and be grateful for what he does bring to the table.
Man, let me tell you something. You are helping so many people with this conversation. You're helping me. My dudes in the room, everybody nodding, everybody, because you can tell a person that has done the work, and you certainly have shown that on this call, as well as 42 years of marriage. I see the flex with the picture in the back. I love it. Yep, I love it. I love it. And I am grateful to you, love. I love you for your contribution to our community and just making sure that we get back to loving each other. And I appreciate you for joining me today, okay?
It's such an honor to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Give me your last words. I know where can we find your book. Yeah, all of that.
Okay, you can find my book, lovemcpherson.com. I'm all about learning how to love better. And I just think that love has gotten a bad rap. And we cannot ever, ever, ever give up on love because God is love. And so we want to make sure that we brand it correctly, we do it correctly, we don't fear it, because love done right, love never fails.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you this. Your parents did their big work when they called you love. They was on top of it. They prophesied that baby into existence. You hear me? Gentlemen, I appreciate y'all for hanging in there. And put in the comment section, let me know what your takeaway of this conversation was. How did it impact you? And if you, in fact, want Love to be back on the show when she comes to the A, she'll be in the studio. And I'd even bring some of y'all guys in so we can just chop it up. But until next time, hey, man, keep your heart pure. Keep it open, and remember to always man up.
Driven by purpose, walking God's plan. You're looking at a certified man.